Happy Pride Month to all who celebrate. As I have mentioned many times from this very lectern, I do consider it a blessing to belong to a non-queer church that proclaims every Sunday morning that we are open and affirming to the LGBTQ+ community. As I have also mentioned, not all UCCs are open and affirming. In fact, only about 1,900 of this country's over 5,000 UCC congregations are open and affirming. So when I am called upon to say why I support this church, financially and otherwise, this is a good part of it. And speaking of this, I would like to give thanks and props to our own Larry Mode for the beauty of the sanctuary and for the art in the narthex. Thank you, Larry. And my personal thanks goes out to Donna Beebe for this opportunity to speak to y'all this morning. A couple of months ago, Donna contacted me and asked if I knew anyone who would be both appropriate and willing to come and talk to us during Pride Month, queer speakers bureaus and such. And I said, Donna, sweetheart, there are gay elders right here in this church, and we have something to say. So here I am. And over the next 3 Sundays, we will also hear from Lenny Brown and Greg Harvey and Larry Mode. So Donna, thank you for hearing me. Okay, let's talk about pride. Over my half-century living as an out gay man, I have been asked by generally well-meaning heterosexuals, and hey, maybe you're sitting out there wondering yourself, so, Larry D., are you proud of being gay? No. And if you're sitting there proud to be straight, cut it out, because that's just silly. I am neither proud nor ashamed of being gay. I'm just gay. I'm proud of my Landon Literary Award. I'm proud of my upper arms. But being gay is not in and of itself an achievement. If it were up to me, June would be Queer History Month, which is actually in October, but there aren't any parades for that, nobody much cares. But it's not up to me, so Pride it is. Here in Southern California, we are up to our collective glutes in Pride festivals, usually starting in the late spring and on into the fall. Long Beach Pride, WeHo Pride, which is happening right now. LA Pride, San Diego Pride, Palm Springs Pride, Catalina Pride, I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some. Music and parades, muscle boys and drag queens, flags with so many stripes on them I have no idea what most of them represent, and more vendor booths than you ever dreamed possible. Maybe you've been to one or more Pride festivals in your life. I have attended what feels in retrospect like thousands, which is wonderful, of course, in its way. And yet, aside from a vague general feeling of goodwill toward queer people from our allies and the vocal discomfort and outrage from those who still believe the closet is where we belong and who keep repeating the increasingly stupid-sounding question, why isn't there straight pride? I strongly suspect that most people, queer or otherwise, might not actually know what we're celebrating. So, in case you don't know, it goes back to 1969, a year some of us are old enough to remember, but you might not remember just how much it was a different world, especially for gay people. In 1969, sex between people of the same gender was illegal in 49 of the 50 states. There were actually 0 laws in this country, federal, state, or local, granting gay people protection from being fired or from being denied housing because of their sexuality. Entering a gay bar, even in the big city, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, one ran the risk of police raids and arrest. Names and home addresses of those arrested might be published in local newspapers, ruining careers, families, and lives. Homosexuality was still defined as a mental illness by the American Psychiatric Association. That would not change until 1973, my junior year in high school. So many gay folk, either committed by their relatives or by their own choice, submitted to aversion therapies including electroshock and even lobotomy. And tragically, many resorted to suicide. And it was in this atmosphere of prejudice, misunderstanding, and abuse that in the wee small hours of June 28, 1969, a bunch of Greenwich Village gay street kids, lesbians, drag queens, and trans women finally decided to say, no more. No more to police raids on gay bars, the only places where queer folk could gather to socialize. No more to the fact that in New York City in 1969, slow dancing with someone of your own gender was an arrestable offense. No more to being criminal just for being. So when a scuzzy, mafia-owned gay bar called the Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street was raided by the New York City police, it started out as most raids started out, with bar patrons shuffling into the paddy wagons, many hiding their faces in case there might be any cameras. But that night, at that bar, as they were being herded from the building, handcuffed and manhandled, to the surprise of everyone, including those patrons, they fought back. And they fought back hard. For the rest of the night and into the morning, traded blows with mounted police, pelting the police officers with pennies and cobblestones, and finally with garbage cans lit on fire. And they made a whole lot of noise. They fought in sufficient numbers and with sufficient ferocity that the policemen finally took refuge in the bar for their own safety. But the kids broke into the building using uprooted parking meters as battering rams. The police had never seen anything like it. Nobody had. Emboldened by the swiftly traveling news of what had taken place, gays returned to the streets in even greater numbers the following night, and the night after that. And on the third night, a multitude stood in the street in front of the Stonewall, fists raised, chanting, "Gay power." Things had changed, literally overnight. Navy veteran Danny Garvin, who was there, remarked many, many years later, "We became a people." The event has since been termed the Stonewall Riots and the Stonewall Uprising. 1 year later, it was commemorated with New York's first Gay Pride Parade, culminating in a rally in Central Park. And it is considered the beginning of the modern gay rights movement. That's what Pride is all about, Charlie Brown. And I believe it's important, especially for younger queer folk, to know when and where the fight for queer rights began, because don't look now, but those rights are being rolled back, even as we speak. For further information, I wholeheartedly recommend the book, Stonewall, The Riots That Sparked a Gay Revolution by David Carter, and the PBS American Experience documentary film based on that book, Stonewall Uprising, which is currently available on YouTube. Or talk to an old queer. Follow-up questions are encouraged.